The Monaco marina sparkled in the Mediterranean sun, luxury yachts bobbing gently in their berths. I stood on the private dock, watching my family pose for photos in front of what they thought was their rented vessel for their successful family members-only cruise. If they'd bothered to read the name on the yacht, Alexandra's Dream, they might have figured it out sooner. "Sarah, what are you doing here?" My mother's voice cut through the sea breeze, sharp as ever. "The dock is private." I smiled, adjusting my Hermes scarf. "I know." "Security," she called out, waving to the dock staff. "We have an intruder." The security guard approached, his uniform crisp in the morning sun. "Is there a problem, Ms. Robertson?" "Yes," Mom said triumphantly. "My daughter is trespassing. This is a private dock for the yacht's owner." "I know," he replied calmly. "That's why I let her in." Mom's perfectly maintained facade cracked slightly. "What?" "Ms. Alexandra is the owner," he explained, using my preferred name, the one I'd built my shipping empire under, while my family still called me Sarah. "We've been expecting her." The silence that followed was broken only by the gentle lapping of waves against the hull. My brother Michael stopped mid-pose, his designer sunglasses slipping down his nose. My sister Rachel's champagne glass froze halfway to her lips. "This is ridiculous," Mom finally managed. "We rented this yacht through Elite Maritime Services. By company," I supplied helpfully. "Along with about 30 other luxury vessels in this marina. Though this one," I patted the gleaming hull, "is my personal favorite." "Your company?" Rachel's voice cracked. I pulled out my keys, specifically the electronic fob that controlled the yacht's security systems. With a soft beep, the gangway lights illuminated, and the yacht's systems hummed to life. "Impossible," Michael sputtered. You're nothing. Dad always said dash." "Dad said a lot of things," I cut him off, usually without bothering to check if they were true. Speaking of Dad, he stood at the back of the group, his expression unreadable. He'd been the one to declare 10 years ago that I was throwing my life away by starting a small boat rental business instead of joining the family real estate firm. Now his successful family-only cruise was about to get very interesting. "But the booking," Mom protested weakly. "Elite Maritime confirmed your rental of Alexandra's Dream for a 7-day Mediterranean cruise," I finished. "Though if you'd done your research, you might have wondered why the company's CEO is named Alexandra Robertson." My phone buzzed, a message from my port manager. "Everything ready for the reveal?" "Perfect timing," I texted back. "Let's show them what success really looks like." "Ladies and gentlemen," I called out, my voice carrying across the dock, "welcome aboard Alexandra's Dream. Or should I say my dream?" The yacht's crew emerged on cue, immaculate in their uniforms. "Welcome aboard, Ms. Alexandra," they chorused, completely ignoring my stunned family. "The master suite is prepared as requested," my chief steward announced. "And the additional accommodations have been arranged." Mom's face darkened at the emphasis on master suite, the one she'd specifically requested in her booking. "Now wait just a minute, Dash." "No, Mother," I interrupted, "you wait. For 10 years, you've excluded me from family events because I wasn't successful enough. Called my business a hobby. Told everyone I was finding myself, while my siblings were building real careers." I gestured to the marina around us. "Take a look. Every yacht with the Elite Maritime logo? The shipping company that transports your precious real estate materials? Also mine. The luxury charter service you used to book this cruise? Would you like to guess?" Rachel had pulled out her phone, frantically Googling. "Elite Maritime Services. Estimated worth. Oh my God. $4 billion at last valuation," I supplied. "Though with the new Asian expansion it's probably closer to 6. Not bad for a hobby, wouldn't you say?" Michael stepped forward, his business persona taking over. "Sarah, if we'd known Dash." "You'd have what?" I asked coolly. "Invited me to the cruise? Bragged about your successful sister? Tried to take credit for my achievements." "That's not fair," Mom protested. "We were trying to motivate you, Dash. By excluding me? By making me feel worthless." I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Well, congratulations. You motivated me to build something so successful that you literally paid me to rent my own yacht." The crew was trying to hide their smiles, They'd heard all about this family during our planning sessions. The cruise deposit, Dad spoke for the first time, his voice hollow. How much did we? 200,000 euros, I said. Non-refundable, of course. Though I suppose I should thank you, it'll cover the cruise bonuses for putting up with this charade. My phone buzzed again, this time with a news alert. Elite Maritime Services announces major expansion, stock soars. Oh, by the way, I added, showing them the headline, you might want to check your investment portfolios. Several top financial advisors are recommending Elite Maritime stock today. Shame you didn't buy in when it was just my little hobby. Mom sank onto a dock bench, her carefully planned cruise unraveling before her eyes. But where will we stay? Oh, the cruise is still on, I assured her. Just with some slight modifications to the arrangements. I nodded to the chief steward, who began distributing new room assignments. Michael, you and Jessica will be in the port guest cabin, the small one near the engine room. Rachel, you and Thomas have the starboard crew quarters. Mom, Dad, you'll find the forward cabin, cozy. Crew quarters. Rachel shrieked. But we booked Dash. You booked through my company on my yacht, I reminded her. And as owner I've made some changes. The master suite naturally is mine. This is outrageous, Mom declared, standing up. We'll find another yacht, Dash. In Monaco? During peak season. I smiled. Good luck. Elite Maritime controls most of the luxury charters in this marina. And even if you find an independent operator, your deposit is still non-refundable. My phone chimed with another message, my marina manager. Paparazzi arriving in 10 minutes for the Elite Maritime press conference. Want them to catch the family drama? Perfect timing, I texted back. Make sure they get my good side. Looking up at my family, I continued, you have two choices. Stay and enjoy a lovely Mediterranean cruise, albeit in slightly humbler accommodations than you planned. Or leave, lose your deposit, and explain to all your society friends why you're not posting photos from your luxury yacht vacation. The silence was broken only by the gentle clinking of rigging against masts. You're enjoying this, Michael accused. Enjoying watching your perfectly crafted facades crumble? Watching you realize that your unsuccessful sister owns the company you're all desperate to impress. I smiled. Yes, I rather am. Dad stepped forward, something like respect finally showing in his eyes. You built all this? Without any help. Without your help, I corrected. Turns out I didn't need the family real estate empire to be successful. I just needed you all to underestimate me long enough to build my own empire. The sound of cameras clicking drew everyone's attention. The marina was filling with photographers, all aimed at Elite Maritime's flagship yacht and its dramatic family scene. Smile, I advised my family. These photos will be in all the business magazines tomorrow. Elite Maritime CEO Alexandra Robertson welcomes family aboard personal yacht. Such a heartwarming story of family reunion, don't you think? Mom's face went from red to white. She understood the game now. They could either play along and save face or become a very public embarrassment. What do you want? She asked quietly. Want? I laughed. I have everything I want. A successful company, a beautiful yacht, and the priceless opportunity to watch you all realize exactly who you've been looking down on all these years. My phone started buzzing with messages. Other family members suddenly realizing who I really was, business contacts connecting the dots, social climbers trying to realign themselves with the real power player. The press will want photos of the happy family, I continued. I suggest you all change into something more appropriate for a day at sea. Your new cabins have suitable attire laid out, Elite Maritime branded, of course. Can't miss a marketing opportunity. Rachel looked at her designer sundress in horror. Elite Maritime branded clothing? Standard crew wear, I confirmed sweetly. Since you'll be staying in crew quarters, it seemed appropriate. The chief steward stepped forward. Shall I show them to their cabins, Ms. Alexandra? Please do. And remind them about the crew dress code. We wouldn't want them to feel out of place. As my family was led aboard, each looking more shell-shocked than the last, I turned to face the cameras. Alexandra Robertson, CEO of Elite Maritime Services, welcoming her family aboard her personal yacht. It would make a perfect story. My phone buzzed one final time. My PR director. Stock up 15% on expansion news. Want me to mention the family angle? I smiled, typing back, absolutely. Focus on the self-made success angle. And make sure to note that I started as a small boat rental hobby. Success, they say, is the best revenge. But success combined with impeccable timing and a flair for dramatic reveals? That's priceless. As for my family, well, they wanted a luxury cruise experience. They just never specified which side of the service dynamic they'd be on. Welcome aboard Alexandra's dream family. Your crew uniforms are in your cabins. After all, every good success story needs a humble beginning. And nothing says humble quite like crew quarters on a yacht you thought you were important enough to rent. The Mediterranean sun glinted off the yacht's pristine hull as photographers jostled for position. Another perfect day in Monaco, at least for one of us. Shall we set sail? I asked the captain, loud enough for both my family and the press to hear. I believe my guests are eager to begin their experience. The anchor began to rise, and with it my family's last illusions about who really held the power in this relationship. Sometimes success isn't just about making money. Sometimes it's about making a point. And what better point than showing your successful family-only cruise that success doesn't always look like what they thought it did. Welcome to my world, family. The crew meeting starts at dawn. Don't be late. The owner doesn't appreciate tardiness. I stared at my reflection in the hospital bathroom mirror, adjusting my nurse's uniform for the third time. Another 12-hour shift done, but I couldn't go home yet. Tonight was the dreaded monthly family dinner, where my career choice would once again become everyone's favorite topic of ridicule. My phone buzzed, Mom's reminder, don't be late like last time. And please wear something nice, not your work clothes. Your brother has big news to share. Yes, Marcus. The golden child. The successful surgeon who could do no wrong. I checked my bag, making sure the manila envelope was still there. My hands trembled slightly as I touched it, knowing its contents would change everything. The family dinner was at our parents' suburban home, the same house where Marcus and I grew up. Same decor, same family photos on the walls. Though nowadays Marcus's medical school graduation photo dominated the living room. My nursing school graduation picture was somewhere in the hallway, probably behind a plant. Sarah, you're finally here, Mom called out as I walked in. She frowned at my appearance. Couldn't you have changed? 12-hour shift, Mom. Barely had time to breathe, let alone change. The dining room was already full. Dad at the head of the table, Marcus and his wife Jessica to his right, our younger sister Emma and her husband on the left. All of them in their perfect business casual attire, looking like they stepped out of a catalog. Still working those long shifts? Marcus smirked. You know, if you'd finished medical school instead of dropping out for nursing, you could have normal hours like me. I bit my tongue, remembering the envelope in my bag. Not yet. Let them have their moment first. Speaking of careers, Dad cleared his throat. Marcus has some exciting news. Marcus stood up, straightening his designer tie. I've been appointed as the new head of cardiology at Metropolitan Hospital. Youngest department head in their history. The table erupted in congratulations. Mom wiped away proud tears, Dad beamed, Emma clapped enthusiastically. I pushed my food around my plate, waiting. This calls for champagne, Dad announced, heading to the wine cellar. So Sarah, Jessica turned to me, her voice dripping with fake sympathy, still enjoying basic patient care? Must be frustrating, Marcus added, watching real doctors make the important decisions while you just follow orders. I took a slow sip of water. Actually, I find my work very fulfilling. Speaking of patient care, how's Mrs. Anderson doing? The color drained from Marcus's face. What? Eleanor Anderson admitted 3 weeks ago? Routine valve replacement that turned complicated? Ring any bells, doctor? How do you? Marcus stammered. Dad returned with the champagne, but stopped short at the tension in the room. What's going on? I reached into my bag and pulled out the manila envelope. Funny thing about being just a nurse. We notice everything. We're there 24/7, monitoring patients, catching mistakes, documenting errors. Sarah, Marcus warned, but his voice shook. Mrs. Anderson coded on my shift last week. I continued, opening the envelope. While reviewing her chart, I noticed some interesting discrepancies in her pre-op assessments. Specifically the ones you signed off on, Marcus. The room went deathly quiet. Mom's hand froze midway to her champagne glass. Dad slowly sat down, the bottle forgotten. You wouldn't, Marcus whispered. I spread the documents on the table. 3 missed indicators for potential complications. 2 medication interactions you overlooked. All documented, all signed by you. Mrs. Anderson nearly died because you were too busy planning your department head announcement to do your job properly. I can explain, Marcus started, but I wasn't finished. The only reason she's alive is because her nurse, Amy, noticed her declining stats and called a code blue. While you were at your celebration dinner, I was doing chest compressions on your patient. Jessica grabbed Marcus's arm. Honey, what is she talking about? I stood up, gathering the documents. The hospital board might be interested in these files. Especially since you're about to become department head. The story continues in part 2. Would you like me to proceed with writing it? Marcus lunged across the table, reaching for the documents, but I stepped back quickly. Years of maneuvering through crowded hospital corridors had made me nimble. Sarah, please. His voice cracked, all the earlier arrogance gone. You don't understand what this could do to my career. Oh, I understand perfectly, I replied, my voice steady. Just like you understood every time you belittled my career choice. Every time you mocked my basic patient care, while nearly killing your patients through negligence. Dad stood up, his face red with anger. This is ridiculous. Marcus is a brilliant surgeon. There must be some mistake. I pulled out my phone and played a voice recording. Mrs. Anderson's weak voice filled the dining room. That nurse, Sarah. She saved my life. The doctor never listened when I told him about my medications. Mom's champagne glass slipped from her hand, shattering on the hardwood floor. Nobody moved to clean it up. I have more, I continued. The Thompson case from last month. The Wilsons from the cardiac unit. It's amazing what patients tell their nurses, especially when their doctors are too busy promoting themselves to listen. Emma, who had been silent until now, spoke up. But Marcus, you always said being department head was about improving patient care. It was, he snapped, then caught himself. It is. She's just jealous. She couldn't handle medical school, so now she's trying to ruin my success. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. I didn't drop out of medical school, Marcus. I chose nursing. I chose to be the person who spends more than 5 minutes with patients. Who notices when their breathing changes, when their medications aren't working, when they're afraid but won't tell the almighty doctor. Jessica stood up, gathering her designer purse. Marcus, what's really going on? Are these accusations true? For the first time in his life, Marcus looked small. His shoulders slumped, the familiar arrogant smile gone. Jess, I can explain. Explain what? I interrupted. How you rush through patient assessments. How you ignore nurses' concerns because we're beneath you. How you falsify documents to cover your mistakes. Dad slammed his fist on the table. Enough. Sarah, you're just trying to hurt your brother because you're jealous of his success. I want you out of this house. Fine, I said calmly, tucking the envelope back into my bag. But first, let me share some more news of my own. You know that new patient safety initiative the hospital board has been developing? The one they're implementing across all departments. Marcus's head snapped up. What about it? I'm leading it, I said, watching their faces carefully. Turns out all those years of basic patient care taught me something about keeping people alive. The board appointed me last week as Director of Patient Safety and Quality Assurance. The silence was deafening. Mom sank into her chair, Dad's face went from red to pale, and Marcus looked like he might faint. That's right, I continued. Starting next month, every department head reports to me regarding patient safety protocols, including the new head of cardiology, assuming he still gets the position after my review of his cases. You can't do this, Marcus whispered. Actually, I can. And I will unless. Unless what? He asked desperately. I pulled out another document from my bag. Unless you sign this. It's your resignation from the department head position, citing personal reasons. You'll maintain your current role as a staff surgeon, under strict supervision. You'll also enroll in the hospital's remedial patient care program, the one you called beneath you last month. This is blackmail, Dad sputtered. No, this is accountability, I corrected him. Something this family seems to have forgotten about. Jessica grabbed the document, scanning it quickly. Sign it, Marcus. Sign it now. But my career. He protested weakly. Your career. Jessica's voice rose. You almost killed people. Sign the damn paper. With trembling hands, Marcus signed. The mighty surgeon brought low by his nurse sister. One more thing, I said, pulling out my phone again. I'm in charge of restructuring the hospital's nursing program. We're implementing new protocols, better working conditions, and... I paused for effect. Equal representation in all medical decisions. No more doctors ignoring nurses' concerns. I picked up my bag and headed for the door, then turned back one last time. When Mom? I won't be able to make it to next month's family dinner. I'll be too busy with my new position and my basic patient care. The next few weeks were a whirlwind. Marcus started his remedial training, humbled and quieter than I'd ever seen him. The hospital board fully supported my initiatives, especially after reviewing the cases I'd documented. Jessica filed for divorce, unwilling to stay married to someone who'd risked patients' lives for his ego. But the biggest change was in our family dynamics. The photos in the hallway were rearranged. My nursing graduation picture now hung prominently beside Marcus's medical school photo. Dad stopped making comments about real doctors, and Mom started telling her friends about her daughter, the director of patient safety. One evening, as I was leaving the hospital after implementing another successful safety protocol, I received a text from Marcus. You were right. I'm sorry. Thank you for stopping me before I hurt someone else. I smiled, remembering all those years of being the failed sister who chose nursing. Sometimes the best success stories don't come with a prestigious title or a corner office. Sometimes they come with the quiet satisfaction of knowing you did the right thing, even when everyone else thought you were wrong. As I walked to my car, my nurse's badge catching the setting sun, I thought about Mrs. Anderson, now fully recovered and back home with her family. About the countless other patients whose lives were touched by basic patient care. About the new generation of nurses who would work in a hospital where their voices mattered. Maybe I hadn't failed after all. Maybe I'd succeeded in the most important way possible, by staying true to my calling, even when my own family couldn't see its value. And now, finally, they understood that sometimes the biggest impact comes not from those who stand in the spotlight, but from those who work quietly in the background, keeping everyone else alive. The next morning, I walked into my new office, the words, Director of Patient Safety and Quality Assurance, freshly painted on the door. On my desk was a small gift basket, from the nursing staff. The card read, Thank you for showing everyone what nurses can do. I smiled, pinned my nurse's badge to my lapel and got to work. After all, there were patients to save, protocols to implement, and a whole hospital culture to change. And this time, everyone was listening to the nurse.